Hi friends, let us continue with the topic. Now we have discussed about energy and number pyramids. Now we will discuss about pyramids of biomass, right? Now what does this exactly show? Pyramids of biomass. Now it shows how the biomass of living organisms varies across trophic levels. Now this shows how the biomass of living organisms of living organisms. Now you have to be very clear on definitions, right? Living organisms varies across trophic levels, right? Now this is the exact definition. Now what is this biomass exactly means? Any idea of this? Already we have discussed this about this previously. Now biomass is nothing but dry weight, right? Biomass is nothing but dry weight. Now what does dry weight means? Right? Now dry weight is nothing but amount of organic matter there in living organisms. Amount of organic matter in the living organisms. Now how this dry weight is measured? Again, this also we have discussed it earlier. This is nothing but we will measure dry weight in gram calories per unit area per unit time. Right? Now once this is a question asked in UPSC, right? How the dry weight of living organisms measured? Now you are given with four options. Now this is the exact correct option, right? Done. Now how this pyramids look like in different ecosystems, now we will discuss this, right? Now in grassland and forest ecosystem, how this look like? Now see here, in grassland and your forest ecosystem now this pyramids will be upright, right? Upright means already by this time you must know what does this upright means. See here, I will draw the diagram. Means see here, in grassland or forest ecosystem there will be more number of manufacturers or your producers, right? Likewise what we call it as plants. Now let us write the energy available also, right? Or total dry weight, I will write in dry weight here. Now observe here, now these producers are consumed by herbivores. You can take many examples, right? Rabbit, all the things. Now these herbivores are consumed by carnivores, right? And these carnivores are taken up by top carnivores. Now see here, automatically what we say, your producers will have more dry weight, more biomass. Your dry weight will be decreasing by each trophic level. Now in herbivores it will be only 100 kg. Now in carnivores it will be only 10 kg. Now in top carnivores it will be only 1 kg. Now see here, that's why I said in grassland or forest ecosystem the pyramids are upright. This is the thing. Now how it will be in pond ecosystem? How it will be in pond ecosystem? Now in pond ecosystem, your manufacturers are the organisms that produce food. Now these are very small organisms, so their biomass will be least and the value gradually shows an increase towards the apex of the pyramid, thus making the pyramid invert in shape. In pond ecosystem the pyramids are invert in shape. Now see here, in every year there will be a question on this pyramids, right? How the pyramids will be upright or invert in different ecosystems based on their biomass, energy and numbers, right? Now in pond ecosystem, as we discussed, the pyramids will be inverted. Now see here, your producers will be very less because the biomass will be least, right? Producers, because these producers are small organisms, so their biomass will be least, right? Biomass will be least. I'm writing the point here. Now these producers are taken up by small fish. Now what we speak it as herbivores, right? Now this producers, small organisms, zooplankton, phytoplankton, what we speak it as. Now these herbivores are consumed by carnivores. Now see here, biomass is increasing in this pyramid, right? So this is invert shape in pond ecosystem. Done. Now this is the pyramids of biomass. Now the next concept is very important. Now we will see the transfer of biotoxins in each trophic levels, right? How the transfer of biotoxins happen and what are the terms that we will be frequently using. Transfer of biotoxins transfers of biotoxin in trophic level. Done. Now how this transfer of biotoxins in trophic level happens? Now the first term is bioaccumulation. Bioaccumulation. Now you have to learn this definitions clearly and also the difference between the terms exactly, right? Now what this bioaccumulation exactly means? Now it is nothing but accumulation of contaminants by species in concentrations that are orders of higher magnitude than in the surrounding environment. Now I will summarize this, I will write the definition exactly here. Bioaccumulation is nothing but accumulation of contaminants, accumulation of contaminants by species, accumulation of contaminants by species in concentrations that are orders of higher magnitude than in surrounding environments Now, this is the exact definition. Surrounding environments. Now, this is called bioaccumulation. I see here, this is very important. Accumulation of contaminants by species, it seems. Now, how this happens? Now, this bioaccumulation can happen in many routes. Likewise, by breathing, now by eating, right, or by drinking, sometimes through skin contact also, right. Now, these are the ways where bioaccumulation can occur. Now, see here some polychlorinated biphenyls, now what we frequently call it as PCBs. Now, these are the harmful compounds that are accumulated in the species, right? These are the some of the harmful compounds that are accumulated, right? Now, PCBs, dioxins, right? Now, DDT, mercury. That's why the vegetables that are treated with DDT must not be consumed, because they will be accumulated in the body, right, etc., or some of the harmful compounds. Now, what they accumulate in the living tissues. Now, these harmful compounds accumulate in living tissues. Right. Now, see here, your famous example, right, of bioaccumulation is Minamata disease, right? From your primary classes you will learn about this Minamata disease. Now, this is a neurological syndrome caused by severe mercury poisoning on consumption of fishes polluted by mercury. Minamata disease. Now, this is a neurological syndrome caused by severe mercury poisoning. Okay. Now, how this severe mercury poisoning occurs? By consumption of fishes, polluted by mercury, right, polluted by mercury. Now, this disease occurred in Japan, right? Minamata disease, famous example. Now, see here, there are many diseases that occur due to this bioaccumulation, right? One is, we have discussed the Minamata disease. Now, the next one is nothing but your cadmium pollution, famous one. Cadmium, I'll give some more examples. Arsenic pollution, cadmium pollution, arsenic pollution, right? And see here, and also by drinking, now see here, by drinking water containing excess of nitrates, excess of nitrates, now these are also examples for bioaccumulation, right? Done. Now what happens due to drinking of water due to excess nitrates? A famous disease, can you say that? This is nothing but blue baby syndrome, which is nothing but blue baby syndrome. Blue baby syndrome, or you call it as methemoglobinemia, globinemia. Now this is disease, right? Now what happens when you drink water which contains excess of nitrates? We speak it as blue baby syndrome or methemoglobinemia. The characteristic of this disease is your hemoglobin will become non-functional. Your hemoglobin will be non-functional, thereby your oxygen circulation will be reduced. Am I right or wrong? Yes. Famous one. Now most of your examinations will have this type of questions, right? Next, the next term what you have to speak about is bioconcentration. Now see here, there is a marked difference between bioaccumulation and bioconcentration. Focus on this. Bioconcentration. That's why these type of terms will be in the examination. Bioconcentration. Now what does this bioconcentration is? Right? Now bioconcentration is the direct uptake of a substance by a living organism through water, skin, gills or lungs, and the subsequent concentration of that substance within the organism's tissues to a level that exceeds the ambient environmental concentrations. Now see here, I'll write down the things. Bioconcentration is the direct uptake of a substance by a living organism through water or through skin or through gills or through lungs, and the subsequent concentration of the substance and the subsequent concentration of the substance within organism's tissue will be more than, will be more than the surrounding environment, will be more than the surrounding environment. Now you got the observation, I mean the difference between bioaccumulation and bioconcentration. It is accumulation of the harmful substances. Now bioaccumulation is nothing but direct uptake of a substance. Now this is the difference, right? Now I complete this surrounding environment, right? Observe the differences carefully. Now these are very important terms which you can observe this type of questions in the examination, right? Now what is the difference between bioaccumulation and bioconcentration, right? Difference between bioaccumulation and bioconcentration. Bioconcentration is that the later process means bioconcentration does not include direct eating of contaminated substances, right? Direct eating of contaminated substances. Difference between bioaccumulation and bioconcentration is that the later process doesn't include direct eating of contaminated substances. Now that's why I give an example. Mini-matter disease occurs due to eating of fishes polluted by mercury, right? Got the thing? Now in bioconcentration this process doesn't include, right, direct eating of contaminated substances. Now see, this will be a sure short question, right? Contaminated substance. Now this point is very important. Done? Got the point? Now the next term that we have to discuss is biomagnification. Biomagnification. Now what does this biomagnification exactly means? Now it refers to the tendency of pollutants to concentrate as they move from one trophic level to the next. Now I will summarize the things. Now biomagnification refers to the tendency of the pollutants, refers to the tendency of pollutants, refers to the tendency of pollutants to concentrate as they move from one trophic level to the next. Now what are the characteristics of this one trophic level to next? I'm writing each and every definition because these are very important, right? Now the exact characteristics of biomagnification is it basically increases the concentration of pollutants from one link in a food chain to another, right? This is the exact definition. Like you can summarize like this, right? It basically increases increase in concentration of not increases, increase in concentration of, now see here, I will remove this yes here, increase in concentration of pollutants from one link in a food chain, that means trophic level, one link in a food chain, one link in a food chain to another. Now see here, one more important point. Now see here, this biomagnification is also called as bioamplification, right? Bioamplification. Now don't confuse about this. Biomagnification is also called as bioamplification. Now it refers to the tendency of pollutants to concentrate as they move from one trophic level to next. That is nothing but link in a food chain, right? Done. Now you got the point. Yes. Now let us move on to the next concept. Now we have discussed transfer of biotoxins in the trophic levels. Now let us go to the next concept called ecotone, right? A term which you frequently observe, right? Ecotone. Now what is ecotone? Now see, all these terms surround around the trophic levels only. Now ecotone is a transition zone between two biomes where two communities meet and integrate. Now I will summarize this. Ecotone is a transition area between two biomes, right? Now what are biomes? Now nothing but your vegetational communities, right? Vegetational communities. Now this is a transitional area between two biomes where two communities meet and integrate, where two communities meet and integrate. Now this ecotone is also called as zone of tension, right? This ecotone is also called as zone of tension. Now see here, once it was asked in UPSC, what is called zone of tension? Ecotone, ecoline, ecosystem and ecology. I mean the fourth term that was given. Now your answer is ecotone, right? Now what are the characteristics of this ecotone? I have discussed the definition. Now what are these characteristics? Now this ecotone, I mean the transition area may be narrow or wide, right? Or maybe a local zone, or maybe a local zone, or maybe a regional zone, or maybe a regional zone between forest and grassland. Observe here, forest and grassland. Now this local zone will be in between what? Between field and forest. Between field and forest. Now, these are the zone of tensions, right? Field and forest. Done. Now the next point, ecotone. Ecotone may appear on the ground as a gradual blending of two communities, or it may manifest itself as a sharp boundary line. Now see here, now one more characteristic importance. Now ecotone may be a sharp boundary line between two communities, I mean two biomes. A sharp boundary line, or it may be a ground blending of two communities. Blending of two communities in a broader area, or across a broader area, across a broader area. You can speak like this. Now it may be a sharp boundary line or a broader area where there will be blending of two communities. Now what this ecotone exactly says? It represents, or it describes, the variation in flora and fauna. It describes the variation in species of flora and fauna, right? Now sometimes, observe here, in ecotone there can be more diversity. In ecotone there can be more diversity, can be, right? Now this is the most important points regarding ecotone, right? Done. Thank you.